Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and today I want to do something a little different. Something I've kind of already done, but not really, and it's kind of like from the vault. But today I picked up this Roadblock, and this is the field variant that has the more muted colors where they got rid of the gold and different things like that. Now, I did review this figure almost 3 years ago, and let's just say my YouTube skills were a little bit less than. And one of the reasons why I did start comparing Classified or reviewing Classified is because I had all the original figures and I wanted to compare them to the O-rings. Well, I know people don't go back and watch that stuff, and frankly, I don't blame you. But hey, I tell you what, if you ever want to go down a road and you want to figure out, hey, you know what, where did somebody come to grow to where they're at? Listen, we all start from somewhere. Some of us start with some really good videos, others not so good. So anyway, I was never going to pick up anything like this, not for 25 bucks. That's what I always said. I like these colors better than the original Classified, which is version 2. But I said I'd never pick this up for 25 bucks. Now, or 20 bucks actually at the time, 25 bucks now I guess. But 8 bucks at Burlington Coat Factory, and I believe Ollie's also may be getting them. So if you missed out on this figure, or you just like this figure, you want to use for customs, check out your Burlingtons, check out your Ollie's, because I think Ollie's is getting them. Don't quote me on that, but I know Burlington is. But the one thing I want to do is I want to go back and I want to show you version 2 O-ring. And just how far back when they even started this, how they were trying to mimic the O-rings or integrate what the O-rings look like with the Classified. Because I don't think too many people understand that. They saw version 2, or shall I say, version 1 Roadblock of the Classified, and they thought it was a completely new design because of the laser weapon and different things like that. But there are a lot of cues that are taken from version 2. So let's just quickly take a look at this. I'm not really going to break it down. I will quickly compare them to the original Classified, just so you can see the difference in the colors. This one does look much better. So if you do like the content, before you when you get a second, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop some sort of Classified GI Joe video, which, as we know, I drop a lot of them. So let's take a look at this. All right, so I got the figure out here. Now I do want to say something really quickly. So if you look here, this still says 01. So when people try and say that there is 1, 2, 3, 4 versions of Roadblock, it is not true. There is actually only 2 versions of Roadblock. This is just a slight repaint of version 1. So in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, he does not constitute as another Classified version. Where, let's say we want to talk about version 00 Snake Eyes, and I think it's 03 Snake Eyes. Yes, they are the same figure, slightly different paint sculpt, but they have completely different weapon accessories. And they also have 2 different numbers, 2 different packagings, and even going all the way up to the Snake Eyes that comes with the white timber. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is not another version of Roadblock. So, here he is. And we'll quickly go over. He does have his absolutely ridiculous laser gun. Now, if you really wanted to, you could cut this off pretty easily, and you could actually make it look like it's an actual cannon. Now, it does come with a magazine. Now, I can say I do remember running around looking all over the place for this, because I was looking back at some stuff a while back, and I thought these were binoculars, because I was just looking at the box. And then I realized that it's the actual magazine. And from the time that I did that, I have been educated that this is not a clip, that this is a magazine. So, it does come with the magazine. Where would it fit? Who knows? But again, if you wanted to make that look like a cannon, you could cut this off. And it really wouldn't look that bad, considering GI Joe has always been something that is thinking forward rather than behind, as the line went on with the O-ring version. So that's how the Classified was supposed to be. The second thing was he came with a knife. All right, so this one is just all painted black. They didn't do a lot of paint schemes, a lot of paint apps on some of the stuff, but this one looks nice. It's soft enough, but hard enough. So it's not like, let's say, an Action Force weapon that's just super sharp, but you also don't have the same detail either, but it looks pretty nice. Where this here, they actually threw on some paint apps on it. Made it look pretty nice for what it is. Put this blue on the bottom, which clearly shows to me that it's some sort of ray gun. All right, so here's our figure. And just looking at him, you can tell, and I'll quickly show you guys, the articulation is all the same. T-pose, he has the butterfly joints. So they were definitely thinking, I'm not going to say thinking ahead, but they did have a good idea of what they wanted to do. They still weren't using pinless joints yet, which even now some of the figures aren't. Now, I thought these ones had a pretty good flexibility when it came to the plastic. Now, he is loose, and actually I watched my original video and I pointed that out because I watched someone else who took off the vest, and you could see how loose their waist was. Hasbro had a bunch of issues with wobbly waists. Go back to Arctic Storm Shadow, and I do believe they still have some issues with some loose figures that they need to go back and kind of tighten up. So anyway, he had the drop down hips so he can do the Jean-Claude. Because of how big his legs are, they only drop down so much, but these are the same legs that Gung Ho uses, I believe Sergeant Slaughter uses, possibly even Bazooka, and they do have all the swivels. Again, nothing needed to be done. They were pretty nice. He did have the awful shin guards, as you can see, and even though these were covered up and it looks better than the gold and the gold knee guard there, it prevented a lot of mobility when it came to this. So what I really wanted to show is the detail compared to the O-ring version 2. So I'm going to quickly take his knife. I'm going to throw it in here. So going back as far as to when they started this line 3 years ago, they were definitely taking cues with the O-rings. Now, they started with version 2, and in my video, I actually discuss how, hey, we didn't really want version 2, we wanted version 1, or at least I did. They gave us version 1, and I can't complain at all about what they gave us. So, quickly looking at this figure, you can see they were still keeping the knife in the same spot. His buckles are red going up, and he has a green vest. They put the red over his shoulder, which really, I believe, is used to kind of like protect him. Maybe when he's holding the machine gun, or maybe it's just this side. It's hard to tell. But they have the red kind of shoulder guard, shoulder pad up there, which he also has on this one. Over on this side, they have the Joe Pro, which I know that I didn't point out before because I didn't even know what it was. But they made sure that this ran over the same way that this one did. And then right down to the buckle, which oddly enough, the O-ring version has more paint apps on the belt. But this one kind of has a square or rectangle belt buckle the same. And they were even putting the pouches on some of the belt buckles. Now, on the O-ring figure, you can see the straps didn't go all the way back. This one does. But, again, all the way to the side, they put the little pouches on it. Then you look at the legs. You have the pouch right there on the side. You have the black boots. Then you have the pouch on this side. And because he does not come with any sidearm that is on here, they didn't give you one. Now, they did remove the white shirt, which I have to say is a much better look, and they gave him darker pants, which, let's be honest, is much better. And I always thought this was an awful looking Roadblock, but they gave him a beard, still the shaved head, rather than just the goatee. So going back as far as 3 years ago when they started the line, you can see they were still following what they did. I forgot to mention the dark gloves. So they didn't give him full black gloves here, but they did give him gloves, even little collars around it. So as you can see, they were back then even looking to reproduce the O-ring. Now they've gone to a whole new line, a whole new revisionist to make it, hey, we're just going to do almost a full new O-ring because people whined and cried and complained about it, that, hey, this is what we want this, we want this. Now you have people complaining that it's the exact same thing. You can't win. You can't win no matter what you do, right? So in the back here, I have the original one, and I just want to say I left him up there wide on 1 foot as I'm bouncing around, banging the table, moving this guy around. This guy's sitting up there all by himself on 1 foot, holding a machine gun, and he hasn't fallen over. So to all those people that don't know how to pose your figures, to all those people that constantly say, oh, my figures fall over. Hey, you know what? Learn how to pose your damn figures. Anyway, it's just a gripe that I have. I understand the stands every now and then need to be used, but for the most part, you don't need to. I'm not even going to go over the guns because the guns are completely different, but I did want to go over the roadblock and show you the difference. So here, as you can see, now if I move him, he's going to be in a different spot. Look at that. But this thing isn't completely flat, so. Anyway, what they did make changes of, and I can show you, is they obviously darkened the vest. It is the exact same vest, but they made it so you're not going to be able to snipe him so easily in the jungle. I love the darker colors way more, but not $25 more. But yes, $8? Sure, why not? They got rid of the gold knee pad. It does keep the knee pad because the figure is just a slight repaint. The gold boots are different. Black is still the same. Darker right here on the on his pants, which I'm fine with. But again, I like the darker, way darker than this guy. But hey, this guy was, I mean, it was like, hey, Roadblock, we went from this awesome camouflaged figure. We're just going to put you out there to get sniped. And then they gave him the dark gloves rather than the red gloves. I really don't mind the red gloves. I think they look pretty nice, to be honest. But for the most part, not for the most part, he is the exact same figure. But that's just some things I just kind of wanted to point out quickly. Now, am I going to be giving him this big dumb weapon? No, but I will say this. If you do have any of these and you're still using them, they go really well with the bats, because Cobra, as you know, was always kind of futuristic, using laser weapons. And this big giant thing works awesome on a bat. Ooh, I wonder how that might look on the Arctic bat when it comes. Ooh. Hey, that's a little thought that I just got in my head there. So what are we going to do? Well, let's be honest. We have 1,000 different weapons, from classified weapons, the Valiverse weapons, the Mark II toy weapons. You know what else I even got downstairs? I even got a few of the gridiron weapons. So what am I going to use for this guy? Well, you know what? I usually use some sort of machine gun. Look how easily he just stood up. Absolutely crazy. I was trying to find a bigger weapon for this guy. These ones work pretty well for these types of figures because it's a very large weapon. It has a real big stock on the back, which causes some problems, so you kind of throw this on them. And the one thing about these figures, I feel like, for the most part, they were a little bit stiffer. I like the way they felt, although there were some loose parts, again, like the ab crunch, but the body here is going to protect it. So, there you go. There is our Roadblock version 1 / version 2 O-ring repaint. I just wanted to show you. I just kind of wanted to get a little quick glimpse of it. Let's wrap this up. All right, so that's the the 01 Roadblock. It's the slight repaint. It's called the Field variant. Again, I was not going to pick this up for 20 or 25 bucks. When they first did it, I was perfectly fine with the other ones, not to mention then they came out with the version 1 Roadblock, which is version 2 Roadblock and Classified. Again, very confusing if you're an O-ring collector trying to explain it. But Burlington Coat Factory, $8. I believe Ollie's might have it too, but I'm just going to call this the Burlington $8 special. If you want it, if you need it, if you want custom fodder, if you're like, hey, you know what, I was waiting, hopefully it'd go down, this is the time to go pick it up. But again, I just kind of want to go kind of dig back deep to show you how far back that, I mean, even the original line, they were recreating the O-rings, just not just frame by frame of what they're doing now on a lot of the figures. Now, I'm not going to complain because I do like it more, but I also liked when they were trying to think forward. I was never happy with the Nerf guns, the laser pistols, whatever you want to call them, but I really didn't mind this. I didn't mind the shin pads, although it would have been nice if they would have made it so it had a little bit more articulation, where it wasn't always impeding and causing problems. But for the most part, right off the bat, these things were really, really nice. So I cannot complain all that much on this. But again, that was it. Quick video that I wanted to do. Quicker than most of my videos. Longer than a lot of people's. But hey, you guys know what you came for. You know when you clicked that thumbnail, you knew exactly what the hell you were gonna get when you came to watch me. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. But hey, you know what? Take a second, jump on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, A Punk with Toys. But you already know that. But I'll tell you what, I have a lot more people subscribing here than over on Instagram. So that doesn't make sense. I know most of you have Instagram. So get over there and hit that subscribe button. Anyway, I am gonna get out of here. But before I leave, take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. I don't know if I did that in order or not. I had to take a breath. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Have a wonderful day. Don't go anywhere, though, okay? Because up here is the whole classified playlist. And, you know, down here, shit, I'm going to put in another figure. Who knows?